Hey everyone, this is Derek J, and I am recording live right now from the Adam vs. the Man studios. I'm broadcasting. You can see one of the webcams is here, and we've got another one somewhere else hidden inside, oh, right over there. And so hopefully the idea is to keep accountable the gentleman who has come onto the premises from the local government, and to ask him some simple questions about, you know, what are you doing here today, and why do you think that you have the right to come here in the first place? You know, were you invited? You know, was there some reason for this investigation? Just, you know, basic questions that any person would like to know if a complete stranger wants to walk into their house and start opening doors. So I'm going to leave this camera rolling and facing this direction, you know, where the guests arrive, towards the green room, so that, you know, if this gentleman or anyone else walks down, I'll be able to keep a record of what's happening here. Oh, some people in the chat room are curious if the gentleman who came in today has a warrant. He does not have a warrant. My understanding of the situation is that Adam is currently outside speaking with the gentleman, that he has not yet entered the premises, but he does intend to. I think that they are looking to work out the situation, whatever it is, before this man feels the need to enter the property. I think the idea is that Adam is going to be speaking with this gentleman outside, and just trying to basically keep him away. Because I think that he and I and the others who work here, you know, we respect we value our privacy, and would like others to respect that privacy. Of course, we have guests here when they are invited, but this man, to my knowledge, has not been invited to the Adam vs. the Man studios, especially, you know, anyone who's a government person. So right now, you know, if there's a little bit of silence on the line, this is all being recorded. The interaction upstairs is being recorded. We have our wonderful editor and affiliate coordinator named Rachel, who is Rachel Bussell. She is filming the interactions upstairs. I realized that I had some I forgot to turn on some of the cameras, so I'm going to step out for just a moment and make sure that we've got other cameras recording this, so that when, hopefully, if it comes to the point where this man comes into the studio, we can have him mic'd up and have a bunch of cameras on him and get a good interview. So let's get those cameras rolling.
I guess whoever complained didn't know what our hobby is here. Actually, we have two guests joining us, Derek. Two home inspectors.
Okay, hey, how's it going?
I should say that we did allow them in, at least invite them and consent by signing a form say we consent.
Hey, how's it going today?
To be in the room. So,
hi.
Are we streaming in here? Is this live?
Yeah, we're streaming. Now? Yeah, we're live. How's it going today?
If you'd like to sit down, we'd like to. We'd like to be able to ask.
How do you like the place? Feel free to have a seat. We've got the mics hot.
You don't want to sit down? Because we really do want to ask some serious questions.
So why'd you come here today?
What your job is, and
first of all, so I ask who you are.
Am I obligated to answer your questions, sir?
Kevin. See you later.
Okay, the gentlemen are walking out of the studio now. I asked if I was legally, I didn't say legally, but it was implied, am I obligated to answer this gentleman's questions? He's a total stranger walking into the place where I work. I don't feel obligated to answer any of his questions, and he said, Kevin, I assume speaking to his associate by name, and they nodded and decided to walk on out. That they were not interested in pursuing any more information in this area. I don't know why, because this is just the best area for recording all sorts of information. This is a studio filled with cameras and hot mics, so I'm glad that you know, the interaction was brief, but I would like to get some answers to some very basic questions like, what are they doing here? And why do they feel like they have the authority to come into a home, you know, uninvited? So this is a very curious situation. I will keep you informed as to the current status. I did see that both Rachel and Adam were recording the interactions. And so I'd like to ask Rachel, perhaps she'll sit down in studio and fill the folks in about how that interaction went. Adam is following shortly behind, and so we've got all the cameras mic'd and ready. We are live and broadcasting and recording these interactions. So Rachel, the mic is hot. Fill us in. What is the situation? You know, what just happened?
They basically called us a bunch of kids and just said, we're not going to deal with this, and walked away. They were very cold and solid with the way that
we're
they
live
were.
Here.
Yeah, we're live.
I'll set the control desk.
It
here.
was.
Is anybody watching? Anybody watching
Yep.
the surprise broadcast?
Yep. Some people were surprised and have joined the broadcast.
This
Yes.
little home invasion we just experienced.
Yeah, well, it was interesting that they didn't like go along with it and be relaxed. I don't know, like they were getting punked or something. That's what the thought that came to mind was that they would, you know, have a little conversation, be like, okay, well, we really do have to get along with the inspection and go. They were just kind of rude about it and walked away. It's very odd.
Adam, what was the interaction like?
It was strange. I mean, most interactions with government agents when you stand up to them are pretty strange. And these were guys that were used to being, I think, used to run into people that are upset, like, oh, what business do you have in my house, you know, and being like cantankerous and accepting, and not people that are like thinking and planning ahead and really know what to do and how to actually defend your rights with the government. Now, I did make a questionable call here that I want to highlight here, because I did go ahead and sign their paper that said they were allowed to come in and inspect today. Okay. And granted the consent for that.
Now, why did you make that decision?
Because they said that would conclude, that had the potential for concluding the harassment. That was
it would mean that we're not under duress.
You were signing in self-defense, so to speak?
No, I was signing to avoid duress, basically. Okay. Because they made it clear, and I got it on record, and that was important, that when, you know, they said when they came to the door, you know, what happens if this isn't concluded, whatever. You know, will you come back with a warrant? Will you come back? You know, and that's the duress, because you know,
continue the investigation.
When we called to schedule this morning, or when they called me to schedule it, which was a response to me calling back to after getting the letter that they sent us, the gentleman that I spoke to this morning said that yes, that this did come with the threat of a warrant, and that like if this wasn't concluded, you know, or if we didn't allow the inspection today, that they would, you know, that they could get a warrant. Not that they would, but that they could. And that was the explicit threat that was made to me on the phone this morning. Like, yes, if you don't allow the inspection, yes, there will be a warrant. But I'd like to think that, you know, and now we don't know what's going to happen. And this is really like the weird position that we're in, because they came in, as people saw, I don't know, did it actually show on the live stream? We weren't able to see it.
No, they didn't step on camera.
They didn't step on camera. There were two gentlemen, and they both military vets, according to them, and they had little badges from the city of Herndon, and they came down here, and they realized that we were setting them up for a real conversation, and they can't have that, you know. And we told them that they were being recorded, you know, and I told them that I was streaming
They were perfectly
earlier,
fine
so
with it and polite about that.
Yeah, they
didn't.
Well, Virginia is one of the
resist.
states that has a single-party consent law,
So
where
we didn't even have to inform them.
they didn't have to be legally informed.
I mean, we
that
could have
we were
really
recording.
set them up, and I think that would have been rude. You know, I think that's rude to like pretend that you're to film someone covertly when you could, when it would be appropriate to film them overtly.
Yeah, that's something that the government does.
And you know, they're not pretending to trying to pretend that you're not being filmed. You know, like that's I mean, there's a time for that. There are places where it's appropriate, and it wouldn't have been inappropriate to just have security cameras rolling throughout the house and not say anything.
Some people,
but you know, we're bringing them in here, saying, "Hey, look, you want to sit down, gentlemen? Let's have a conversation." And they actually left without doing the inspection. So I mean, as far as I can say, if anything comes up with this, if it comes to a warrant, you know, then they'll have to get a warrant and come back. And this is what's scary, is like, did we piss them off? Are they gonna go, oh, by the way, their hedges weren't trimmed and now we got a warrant for that, and now they're gonna be sending us letter after letter, you know, trying to control everything we're doing on this property.
Is there anything that you would have done differently about this interaction?
I don't know. That's a very important question to ask every time. I don't know. What I mean, I could have spoken smoother. I could have said things and not said other things, but
I think you handled it fairly well. My only thing was that they said they've done this thousands of times, and you did get into the questioning a little bit too much of how would you know how many people are living here, and I figured that would be a kind of a red flag for them, that they'd go, oh, well, he's really curious about how we're going to find out. What is he going to do to
I might have waited until they were down here before getting into all that, but I kind of thought that they were like walking away. They didn't seem like really super eager, you know, and I'll bet they were. I have a feeling. There was something about them. I don't know. I hate to say something like this on a hunch, but I have a feeling they were both carrying. I didn't ask, and that's, you know what, I should have asked. I should have asked.
Are you aware if they're law enforcement officers?
Technically, they're not. I did get business cards from them.
You did check that.
One of my questions I didn't get to ask them is, are they public servants? Because you know, I assume that they're paid for by tax dollars, and if that's the case, then, you know, allegedly they serve the public, and I don't feel very served by strangers walking into my home uninvited. Right. So, you know, I just would like to make that point to them, like, hey, you know, hello, you're not welcome here. You know, nothing personal, but you're a stranger, and I don't invite strangers into my home. You know, that sort of thing.
And
did you get to make any points like that?
Yes, I did, absolutely.
Okay.
I have that video, and maybe we'll combine with this, and we'll post it all together some other, you know, later. But they are Kevin T. Karnick and David H. Pace, Senior Community Inspector 2 / Deputy Zoning Administrator. And, you know, I don't, you know, they're probably just guys trying to make a living, and they figure that, you know, policing their community in this way is some legitimate service, because they don't understand the legitimate violations of property rights that are at the premise of what they're doing, the violation of the Fourth Amendment. And since they were both veterans, you know, I really should have asked them if they valued their oath to the Constitution, if they thought this was, you know, an unreasonable search or seizure, an unwarranted one under the standards that just the Supreme Court has established as standards for the Fourth Amendment. And you know, I guess that's one thing I should have done differently. I should have asked them about that. But that was the thing. That was what I wanted to ask them, like, here in front of the live audience. We didn't get to do that.
Sit down with them and actually have a conversation about their job and what they're doing. I mean, they work for the government, or some part of the government. Why can't the public question?
And they did tell us that we're allowed to have up to 4 unrelated adults living at this house. Based on
well, how nice to have their permission.
Yeah, because the amount of people in a house makes a difference. Well, that's the thing to me, is what they're enforcing makes, like, you're intruding upon other people's lives and telling you can't live with more than so and so many people. How? Why? What's the? Well, because you could have, you know, a whole city in your house. Like,
answer Mexicans. That's the answer.
That's what we found out from our landlord the other day, that it was because there's a Mexican infestation around here. There's a Mexican problem, and you know, all the you know, the establishment people here had to keep out the Mexicans, and there apparently legitimately was an issue. I wouldn't call it a problem, with daring anti-authoritarians willing to work under the table as day laborers, you know, coming in and offering their services.
Yeah, not an unusual sight in this town to see people standing outside in a big parking lot, you know, ready to be picked up for work.
Yeah.
In fact, one local said at his Home Depot there are hundreds of laborers who get picked up every day. So, I mean, this is a very common occurrence
And
in
if
this
the market
area.
didn't demand it, they wouldn't
They
be
wouldn't
here.
be there,
You know?
exactly.
So obviously they're
It's
serving
basic
somebody's desires.
Market algorithm,
Yeah.
like it's the way people interact. It's how we work.
Okay, so if the inspectors come back with a warrant, what is the plan? Will you be having another live stream? Will you be doing this again? Will you be recording?
Yeah,
will you be asking different questions? What's the plan?
We will certainly be recording, and I can't imagine on any, you know, home inspection justified home invasion that they would be like kicking down doors or coming with guns or saying that you can't film. So I think it's we'll be able to get it on the record, but that we gave them the opportunity even after they declined to sit down and talk in front of the cameras. Although they were already on camera and already talking in front of cameras, just not live.
They were, yeah.
We gave them the opportunity. I said, please, you know, inspect the house, and they declined the opportunity. But it just so happens that, like, as of right now, we only have 3 people living here, and I think we're only going to have 1 more. So we're under the legal limit on that sense for you know for unrelated adults. But you know, even if we were to have more, all we have to do is get married, Derek, and then then we'll be related adults. And
I do.
And you won't count.
I'll be the child.
My final question or concern, I guess, is that the if this should happen again, what is our obligation, what is anyone's obligation to allow another inspection? Once you've already consented to one, how many times can the government people come back and say, oh, well, you know, we didn't do a thorough enough job, or we felt a little intimidated and harassed and we wanted to leave the first time, we'd like to come back, we'd like to reschedule. How many times can local bureaucrats demand entry into my home?
Until they find a reason to arrest you. It's harassment, and it's going to continue, and they're probably going to put someone on watch on the house, honestly. Like, that's just...
Now, what do you mean by that, put someone on watch?
Have someone sit in a car somewhere and watch the house, and watch how many people go in and out. I mean, there's a red flag that's raised. They didn't do the inspection. They left in an...
We clearly gave them the opportunity.
We gave them the opportunity.
I signed their
set up
form.
the
I consented.
inspection.
I brought them down to the basement where we have this studio space.
And you asked for
I
a
gave them.
conversation
I
first.
gave. Yeah, I said we'd like to have a conversation first, and they said they didn't want to. They said that was a game. They don't want to play any games. And in a sense, we were setting them up to be live streamed to actually share their conversation with the world in real time because they knew we were recording from the beginning.
Yeah,
So they saw this, and this is what set them off.
It's offensive to me that they would categorize having a real conversation with a complete stranger who feels like he can enter your home as a game. I mean, how is that a game? That's a pretty legitimate thing to have a conversation with someone who wants to enter your home without a warrant. Yeah, that's pretty legit.
Of streaming it, like, hey, in case something happens, in case these people, you know, we want this on record before we can get videos uploaded. We want to be streaming so that there's a record of this incident of people, you know, coming into our house under duress, essentially.
Let's just repeat for the folks who have just found out about the live stream. Why were the investigators called? What is the reason? What's the alleged charge?
They said there was a complaint, like specifically a complaint. They wouldn't say who, but that it was because of observed traffic and vehicles outside the house.
People in and out.
Okay.
Can't have too much fun around here.
I wonder, okay, say several of the people were visitors and they were friends from somewhere and they were coming to stay with you for 2 months because something happened in their life and they're not living here.
Like, what qualifies as living here?
They're not living here permanently.
Yeah.
They're going to be leaving at some point. Like, how would they handle that circumstance or situation?
Yeah, I know. And then they'd have to go to court and they'd have to, like, really provide. I mean,
they'd have to go through a lot.
We do have. I mean, the check that society puts on government does raise a significant standard of the hoops that they would have to jump through legally in order to come back with a warrant and in order to really harass us. I mean, they could harass us, keep harassing us for little stuff. I don't think they'll bother. Because if anything, I think they've realized that this is not a threat, that this is, I mean, that we are not setting ourselves up. Because we're not really breaking any laws here. We don't have excessive occupancy, even by their legal standards. You know, we had a little traffic for a while when we moved in, but
we've only been here a month, not even.
But what this is that it's 3 young people living together in a house, and they say, we will only want nuclear families in our neighborhood, and we're going to call the guys with guns to harass you because you're actually three young people living in a house having having fun and stuff and having people over. Like, oh my gosh! So we can't have that. You're actually not allowed to have a life here. So I'm part of me is like the vengeful part of me wants to grab the code book and call them and call in a complaint on every single house in this neighborhood and be like, you know what? They've got their grass is too long. Their door is the wrong color.
Yeah, reverse it on them. Put them to work, right?
They've got too many cars in their driveway. And I don't want to I know that would be. I think that would be morally wrong in the sense that you're, turning the guns of government on someone else. But in a sense, I'm acting peacefully, and I would be.
Well, you'd overload the system.
Yeah,
and show them how ridiculous.
Yeah, so I mean that's why we're being harassed, and I'm hopeful. I now thinking about it, I think what's most likely is they're not going to come back unless we really piss off the neighbors, and that's the thing is if that's the dangerous part of the society that we have created is that it's acceptable, and we have this dangerous institution called government where if someone complains to government, they have to go send guys with guns after the problem. Well, and that's really disturbing. But that's just living in statist society. That's one of the things you have to live with. And you can call in an anonymous complaint on someone, and this is like a very, very minor version of swatting. When you have a SWAT team called on someone's house with a false report and have them kick down the door. And half
the time the SWAT team can't even get the damn house right.
Yeah. So it's. It's kind of a situation like that, and I'm really uncomfortable with the whole thing. It makes me nervous, and it's a huge distraction from the work that we're doing here, and trying to, regularly produce good media. So, Is this sound okay? By the way, it seems like it's really low here.
You'd have to put the headphones on.
Yeah, the sound is great. I checked it earlier today. One point I wanted to make is that I was concerned. I was surprised that the gentleman who asked me my name was so easily deterred when I asked him what is my obligation, or do I have an obligation to answer his questions.
Like, you're not jumping to do exactly what we say? You must be a threat.
So what that meant to me when he decided, okay, this guy is answering my question with a question. That's too much resistance for me. What does this guy deal with on a normal day-to-day basis? Do people just roll over when he asks them to? Does everyone provide him with whatever information he asks for?
Out of fear, definitely. I mean, my heart was beating. I was not very brave on those things, but like out of fear people respond, and because if they lie, they start shaking and they're under pressure.
I guess the footage was pretty good. I mean, it's still going to work out like a To Catch a Predator episode.
It will. Now, is there anything else that you wanted to let people know about this incident? I've already told everyone the date is Halloween 2012. It's roughly 2 p.m. when the investigators entered the premises, and if you want to check out some Adam vs. the Man gear, that's at adamversustheman.com/gear. Is there anything else that you want the good folks to know?
I don't know. I want to get in the chat. What are people saying about this?
Yeah,
you got any helpful tips or insights? This is one of those times where tap the collective wisdom.
People want to know where this is happening. I don't know if that's something that you'd like to disclose or if you already have.
It's in the city of Herndon. It's in the city of Herndon, Virginia.
Well, and we're living in Virginia, and I've lived in Maryland my whole life, and they've always been this way. And my parents are always, telling me, well, one person fucked it up for everybody else, and, and you gotta, you just have to comply, and these are the rules, and we have homeowners associations, and no one ever really puts up a fight, and they just let it happen, and they're pretty tough about it. My stepfather works down in D.C., and because he has Maryland tags and not D.C. tags, they actually, stopped him one day when he was going to his car. He worked at night, and they're like, well, we've seen you parked here for a month, and we just want to make sure, if you live here that you change your tags. They are that precise and up everyone's ass, pretty much, in this general area. That's how it's always been for 24 years, at least for my memory. So it's just the area. It's government everywhere.
So we've been here a month and a half now, which means on our lease we've got 10 and a half months to go. And, I think one way or another, we'll be able to ride this one out and enjoy a year in Northern Virginia in our current circumstances, and enjoy
plenty of footage.
the studio. And if they do come back, yeah, we'll have good footage. We'll make an ongoing series out of this. And
the home invasion special.
Yeah, the home to catch a home invader.
Now, if people are interested in having more video cameras that are live streaming or security cameras, if people are interested in helping the Adam vs. the Man crew be able to capture these types of things, where can people support the Adam vs. the Man operation? AdamVsTheMan.com/invest. If you want to donate, we'd love to have a set of just CC, security cameras here in the house, constantly recording into a hard drive on a safe, and be able to have that going. Something I can't afford right now. We've got mics coming in the mail, like proper radio mics, so we've spent some money on that. But this really is a very, very tight budget operation. So if people would want to donate to help us get just the appropriate home security measures, that would probably be the next thing on the list here, now that this is a part of our lives living in Herndon. Although if we can make it a year here, and we are subject to harassment basically at the hands of the community, because that's what it is. It's the community saying you're not welcome. I mean, even if it's one person calling in a complaint, and then a few inspectors for the government coming out and actually harassing us, then excuse me.
Yeah.
Then we can. It's the community saying you're not welcome here. Even if it's just one person calling the complaint, it's a couple enforcers coming out, inspectors, and it's the rest of the community saying this is okay. We're going to hire these people to be available to point guns at people when they do stuff that we don't like inside their house.
I think we need to schmooze our neighbors. I'll bake them some pumpkin muffins.
All right. Well,
we kind of tried that, but
with one neighbor, right?
Yeah, I know. We have the rest of the neighborhood.
Anybody. Like, it could be anyone who can see the house, and
well, we do try and reach out to our neighbors. Adam and I did visit some people who live nearby just the other day to discuss, just property rights issues. Are we encroaching, or are there any problems? Maybe they were the ones who issued this complaint against us. It turns out not. So we still don't know who lodged the complaint against the AVTM studios, but we will keep the listeners informed. I want to thank everyone who joined us for the Spur of the Moment live stream.
Yes,
thanks for being out there, all of you. Yeah,
thanks for clicking in and being a witness. I know there's only a dozen people here.
Right. Thanks for being a part of this.
That's very important.
One thing I was thinking about with the neighbors, and it's when something like this happens, especially with us and people who are activists, this is a good time for education and outreach to the neighbors, and say, hey, how would you feel if I thought that you had too many people living in your house and called, and kind of give them the introduction, even if it's a small seed that you're planting, and give them the introduction to voluntarism and life without government. I think
ask
that
them
would
to respect your own freaking
ask
property.
Them to respect, be like, look, I'll respect you if you respect me, and at the same time you educate someone, you're kind of building a community. And if the SWAT were to come, your neighbor might go, hey, your house is being watched, just let you know they're coming, I heard this through the grapevine. You build yourself a little community
support network.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and at the same time bring more people into the idea of voluntarism. So
wonderful. Anything else we'd like to plug before we say good night?
I don't know, but if we have a cop
watch the
warming
newscast.
party, we are going to be inviting these two gentlemen as well to come back for dinner.
Yes.
So
that's a great idea.
Now that we've got their individual numbers, we'd like to invite them back to actually have a conversation about
and be
this.
Professional, because we're professionals.
Okay.
I mean, really.
They were really. I mean, they weren't unprofessional, except in the way they handled that when they were
just military
confronted with the question, and they were just. I mean, it really was like an episode of To Catch a Predator, where the guy just goes,
"The fuck."
Yeah, I'm being set up. And walks out. I'm just getting some food. Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell? I'm just getting some food, man.
Came here for nothing.
I just came here to get some food.
So, all right. Well, I'm Derek J. Freeman. Thanks so much for being with us. You can tweet or follow me at Derek J. Freeman. This is Rachel Bissell.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rachel Bissell.
Affiliate coordinator of Adam vs. the Man.
Watch the newscast, please.
This is, of course, Adam Kokesh of Adam vs. the Man. Thanks so much, everyone. And is there anything else we wanted to plug before we say goodnight?
I guess if anybody has any other thoughts about this, this, if they have experience with this, especially with the town of Herndon specifically, or any general advice, please email me, adam@adamversustheman.com. If you have an extra set of security cameras you'd like to donate, we'd really appreciate it at this point. But we'd also like to state for the record that it just so happens, having not even been aware that there was such an ordinance about over-occupancy before moving into this house, and it would have been nice, for the landlord to have told us. But I mean, he did. I think
sure
we are because we are under the limit anyways.